Still sitting in a truck seat that's older than your favorite pair of work boots? Your back has been filing complaints for years. If your seat is worn out, sagging, or just plain uncomfortable, it's time for an upgrade. Head on over to seatspecialist.com. Check out their selection of quality replacement seats built to keep you comfortable mile after mile. And don't forget to use promo code TR10 4U to save 10% on your order. Seatspecialist.com, because a better ride starts with a better seat. Welcome back to That's Delivered. I'm your host, Trucking Ray, and today I'm joined by someone who's truly special. His voice is a staple in trucking. Jimmy Mack from Radio Nemo. If you spent some time on the road, chances you've tuned in and heard him bringing drivers news, stories, and conversations that matter. Jimmy, thanks for being here today and also for having me on your show. It was truly an honor to be on Nemo Nation. Before we dig into today's topic about how truckers get their information and build a personalized listening and news list, let's start with your story. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good, man. It's good to see you. It's good to be here, as a matter of fact. It's kind of amazing to get a chance to be on somebody else's platform because we live, 5 days a week, 7 in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, every single day, streaming on our platform and then editing our content and doing all that stuff. So to get a moment to actually come on and get a chance to talk to somebody else who's doing the same work this is the first appearance I've made on anybody else's platform since we started our new platform. So I'm thrilled that you were the one who reached out, and I'm glad to be here. We've been kind of putting people off, and when you guys reached out, I'm like, I'm not putting that off. That's too good of content and too great of people not to make time for you. It's good to see you, man.
Man, that's awesome. I'm flattered. Thank you so much for mentioning that and having me on Nemo Nation. I mean, you guys are killing it out there, man. Switching it over from radio. I mean, after all those years, I mean, that's huge. That's a big transition. How are you guys doing with that? Nemo Nation.
It's been crazy. It's been, it's 3 shows. So Monday is Nemo Nation. And what we do on that show is we do anywhere from 11 to 13 to 14 guests. And that is a rapid fire. I mean, the first half hour of guests is three, then two, then three again, then two, then one. I mean, it's a lot of people we kind of run through there. And so the first like 5 to 6 weeks, we had to deliberately make sure that we were offering, for the most part, new guests every time. It's like, and the idea was to get a stable of 50 or 60 people in motion and then start bringing them back to kind of catch up with each one of them. So, like, you've been on the show, you will be back if you accept our invitation because then you kind of check in. And so what ends up happening is I'm a big believer is I don't think that you're competing with me and I don't think that I'm competing with you. I don't think it works that way. I think the only thing we compete with in this sphere is ourselves. That if we give people great content, if we hold up to our highest standards, then you will just end up in the queue with me. That truckers, people who want to know about transportation, will sit down and line up our podcasts, line up our streaming platforms, line up our live shows, and just say, I'm going to listen to my favorite things over the course of the day. So I'm not fighting for a share with you. We're actually trying to do the best job we can do and promote the best things that we can promote because they come back to me looking for more recommendations. And if you have a great time on my show and you say, just got back from the Radio Nemo guys, you guys should check them out. Once again, I can hear you on replay. I can listen, somebody can listen to you live or you in the moment and then literally listen to a replay of me later. So it's been an interesting kind of switch. But the thing about the man that sits at the center of it, Dave Nemo, 55 years in trucking radio, 55 years in trucking radio. And, one of the founding kind of members of it, along with Charlie Douglas and Trucking Bozo and Bill Mack. What's really cool is that he's always been not the first guy there, but one of the first guys there. And when we kind of explain what we would be doing and giving him one show at the beginning of the week, a way that people could check in with the old familiar Dave, doing something new, and then setting them up for the rest of the week for success. So that show that you were on, Nemo Nation, is designed to send people to other shows.
Nice.
It's designed to tell people, here are all the things that are available to you. Here are the reporters that are available to you, the podcasters that are available to you, the YouTubers that are available to you, the magazines, the influencers, the journalists, all the people that you want to know so that when you're trying to check out parking issues, You know, to check out a different gal. And it gives you all these options so that you can make decisions about where you're going to spend your time for the rest of the week and start making choices, and that, like I said, we're no longer in an age where there's some people you might know, you might not have had this experience. There's some people who are still playing the old FM radio game, the old AM radio game of I'm fighting for a share, and if you fail, I succeed. We don't think that way. We don't think that way, and it's stupid to think that way because you're wasting time when you need to be generating content. It's all. Ray, you know that, right? I mean, it's content, content, content. That's the game. That's
Yeah,
the
I mean,
game.
that's huge, man. What's take us back a little bit. How did you get started? Now we'll go beyond the voice of radio. What share your story. How did you get first in radio, and what was the path that led you to where you're at now with trucking radio specifically?
Well, trucking radio, I married into it. I'll straight up tell you that. I married into it, and I only make apologies for that. The fact that I had radio experience beforehand, the fact that I'd worked in the news industry, the fact that I'd been an editor at large at an American newspaper, the fact that I've covered events overseas, the fact that I've written both fictional and news stories for different outlets made it very easy for my father-in-law to make the ask. But it's an interesting story what happened. A regular host of Dave's weekend show simply walked off the job. He just walked off the job, and Dave said, "Look, I'm not giving you a job, but I will pay you if you'll step in and just kind of act as a steward caretaker for this show." And I said, "Sure." And my wife, Claire Marie, who is the sound designer, by the way, we just added all the new sound bumpers for the show, so the show sounds great. My wife is an incredibly gifted sound designer. They do all the programming for the show. They're in the midst of building the new website and all that kind of stuff. We co-hosted the weekend show as a holding pattern. Well, at some point, the guys on our previous platform said, "He's fine, keep him. Let's move on." And that was kind of that. We just kind of slid into it, and all of a sudden we're doing it on a regular basis. I had a couple of advantages that while I wasn't completely familiar with the trucking side of the supply chain, my family are railroad people. We come from the railroads. Well, my great uncle was a president of one of the vice president of Kansas City Southern. My entire family got through the Depression because they all worked on the railroads. So I grew up in that atmosphere. Grew up in law enforcement as well. Um, Grew up in New Orleans politics, which of course involves Teamsters. So there were a lot of connective tissues, and then spent the first couple of I've been doing the job. I've been doing trucking radio for it will be my 10th year next year. Um, so by the time at some point the real big thing I had to learn wasn't the rules and regs. That wasn't what was tough for me because I've worked in law enforcement, so that was easy. The idea of kind of understanding the rules and regulations of the road and hours of service and all that. The thing I had to catch up on was understanding freight rates, was understanding how rates work. And that's where I kind of my dad taught me a really good lesson growing up. He was in law school and he hated tort law. He hated it when he was taking it. So he aced it. He got the best grades he ever got because he decided he never wanted anybody telling him ever anything about tort law. I have a really great piece of advice. I tell truck drivers this all the time. Dave gave me a great piece of advice. He said, "Be yourself on the air. That's so important." He said, "Don't be anything you're not." When you don't know something, tell the drivers you don't know. He said, "Trust me, they will call you and they will tell you, and they will do it happily because they like sharing their knowledge and their wisdom." And one of the things I tell people all the time is make a friend of boredom. Whatever about your job, even when we have jobs as groovy as you and I have, whatever is the most boring part of the job, the part that just you hate doing that makes you like aggravated, that's the job. Everything else is fun. And so once you figure out what the job is inside of the job, is get really good at that so you can do it as quickly and efficiently as possible so you can get to the fun stuff. And so when I got into this gig, I said the thing I've really got to learn is how the rates work. I've got to really learn about how these men and women make a living, and I got to learn it quickly. And I got a chance to meet two of the best guys in the world, Tom Bray of J.J. Keller and Dean Croak of DAT, and they just got me up to speed. And the other thing is too, you're like this as well, Ray. So you know this. I tell people all the time, don't ever be afraid to tell people I don't know, but I would love to. Please tell me.
I love
and
that, man. So, what
that's
keeps you passionate about serving truck drivers through the airways after all these years? I mean, what do you think resonates for you?
I like them. I just like them. I think they're underrated, and what I mean by that is that, one of the things is that, uh, very early on in the process, somebody wrote we do an interview with a lot of authors, a lot of people, audio books and novels and action stuff and all that kind of groovy stuff, and somebody said, "Oh, do you get another book report?" And I said, "I have this crazy idea that the men and women who are listening to these shows actually like to read, like to listen to books, like stories, want to know about more than just rates. And I always tell Dave, I say, look, I said 60 to 65% of our shows should be about trucking, straight up across the board about trucking in one way or another. 35% should be about the fact, I don't know if you're an NFL fan, NFL actually condenses the game to like 10 to 12 minutes. So you can watch just the best parts of the game. The ability to do that on the air, and then to be able to take a truck driver who wants to call and just find a friend who we can talk to about the bills live on the air. We have a regular caller named Packrat. He's a smart guy. He is an engaged guy. He can talk about rates and he can get really, business oriented and get down to the nuts and bolts. But the fact that he knows that on Monday he can give me a call and either lament the fact that his Bills lost or celebrate the fact that they won. I'm always going to love that about people. Or the fact that we had an author named Ryan Pote on the other day, and he wrote this wonderful book. He's an Army veteran. I'm sorry, he's a naval veteran. He's a helicopter pilot. He's worked a lot of special ops. He wrote a wonderful book called Blood and Treasure. And then he came down to the studio in New Orleans and he gave away free audiobooks online, and they're buying his book and they're sharing it online and they're telling people you should read this and you should listen to that. And so many of them are veterans, right? So many of them served, and it's a story that they can relate to about a veteran struggling to make it in the real world and and having PTSD and kind of moving through life and they want to hear that story. They want to know they're not alone. I mean, it just why do I love them? I love them because they pay my bills. And they do it joyfully. And I don't mean that cynically. I don't mean but I mean it's like I get a chance to talk to some of the hardest working people in America and figure out ways to keep them both informed and entertained. Because I think at the end of the day, we deal in facts, we deal in fellowship, and we deal in fun, which is what I think people get into trucking for. The idea that you need the information you need to make the living you got to make.
That's a
It's
community.
only bearable if you have yeah, and it's only bearable if you have fellowship. Exactly, if you don't have that community. And then finally, you wanna make sure that along with the facts and along with having made connections, that there is a good time to be had. Because if you're not enjoying a job that requires you spend that much time away from your family and that much time inside of a cab on the road, then you've probably picked the wrong profession. But there's no reason why a space can't be made in the cab to give these people a great time, to give them somebody who's talking directly to them and knows them and who really plays by Will Rogers' great adage of the stranger is a friend I just haven't met yet.
Nice. All
So
right. I love that. I mean, it's countless conversations with drivers. I mean, you guys are sharing moments together, like you said about the bills. I mean, that's huge. What do you think stands out where you realize this is why we do what we do? Is there a moment that you can remember or recall and say, "Man, this really sets home with me. I don't want to let this go."
I think sometimes when people call and are honest about their loneliness, Dave has talked about some of his great moments, have been back in the day when he would actually be able to say on the air, you need to call home. He would tell a driver on the road, pull over, find a payphone, call home. There's a surprise waiting for you. And somebody had given birth, that they were picking up the phone to be told that their wife had given birth to their baby girl or their baby boy. I know that really lands with Dave a lot. For me, we do a lot of work with one of our sponsors is Reads Across America, and they do the convoy to Arlington. And when people call up and say, "I've been driving for Reads Across America for 5 years, 6 years," and and of course you admire them deeply, but then you find out they tell you, "Oh, we did it because of you." We found out about this because of you. We're involved in this because we heard you guys talk about it and we've joined this movement. We've become part of something. Or like, one of our listeners, Forod, this guy named Forod, he has over 650 audible books he's listened to. And he's openly said that it all begins with the recommendations I started to make, and then he would find one book, and then they recommend more books. He has
Yeah.
downloaded 650 Audible books, 650 of them, and that means the world to me. That it's like, you're reaching somebody, you're speaking to somebody, So
Awesome.
that
Uh,
that for me.
yeah. That's huge. That's a great contribution to humanity, helping individuals deal with loneliness and also being a part of something greater than themselves, because that brings happiness right there. More greaterness, happiness, and giving, than receiving. So, from your perspective,
Yeah.
how has this way with truckers get their news, their information changed over the years? Get that line up and decide what they want to listen to and what they want to hear. How has that changed?
Oh, wow. Well, the thing is too is that here, this as well as anybody else. It used to be that a regular listener would actually turn you on, and until they lost their signal, they were yours. Um, and what a lot of people don't understand is it's really interesting that you've got to work in bites. You've got to acknowledge how people are getting there. I mean, look, and you can give people other stuff. There's an audience out there who want to hear 30 and 40-minute conversations. They really do. They want to dig in. They want to go long form. I mean, after all, look at Joe Rogan, 4 hours.
Yeah.
We do 4 hours, not the way that he does. But a lot of people want to get their news, boom, 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 bang. Want to get it done like that.
Headlines.
So you gotta figure out ways to kind of give people both, where if you stick around for the long haul, you get the full kind of picture, but you wanna make sure that you have bits and pieces that you can then put out there that contain facts and information. Because I saw somebody write something the other day, just broke my heart. This guy basically went on Facebook and he said, "Guys, I'm getting off of social media for a while." And it wasn't one of those, "I'm getting off of social media. I hate this. This is terrible." It was sadness. You could tell. He said, I don't see a lot of my friends anymore here. It wasn't like talking about how people sucked or people were mean. He was saying that people are great. I'm gonna go meet some. I'm gonna go see some again. He said there's so much AI slop here, so much repetitive stuff. I feel like that they've got this algorithm down in regards to like what I want to buy, that they're just flooding my zone, and I have to go almost take a bath. And it made me really sad. I mean, there are some tricks, as we know, that you can do to your internet and your feed and all that kind of stuff that can limit that. But I understood this. This is a guy who just wanted to go on and check to see if his, friends were having grandkids, if people had bought new puppies, if somebody had a great hunting trip, if somebody actually made the 1,000 miles in the allotted time, all that stuff. And all he was getting was kind of overwhelmed by a sea of, algorithms, that the book of face had read him so to a T that he didn't like looking back in that mirror, and he's taking a walk from it. And I was actually happy for him, but it's interesting because the biggest fight we're going to have moving forward, Ray, is convincing people what I'm telling you is simply facts. And you might not like these facts. You might not like what this means for what you believe politically. You might not like what this means for what you want to be real, but this is real. And to remind them, we have a pastor that comes on every morning, Pastor John of Bennett Trucking Companies comes in and gives a word of affirmation at the beginning of our show. It's really loving. It's ecumenical. It's for everybody. And to kind of convince people, you might not like what I'm telling you, but sometimes that's what the news is things you don't want to hear. But then to kind of remind them at the end, the way he says, it's bad news, but guess what? I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And just to kind of remind them that, look, I'm not trying to sway you, I'm not trying to move you, I'm not trying to editorialize to you, and I'll tell you when I'm editorializing, but the information that I'm telling you right now, when I give you numbers, those are real numbers, and I don't care if they hurt your feelings. You're entitled to your feelings, but you're not entitled to your own facts. And that's the biggest challenge for us, for all of us. I'm not gonna tell you that eggs don't cost what eggs cost. I'm not gonna tell you that a storm isn't gonna hit your town. I'm not gonna tell you that people are doing good when they're not.
Yeah, don't
And I'm
lie to
not
me.
gonna tell you people are doing bad when they're actually doing good. Don't lie to people. Don't lie to them.
I like that.
And that's
Trust
really what
is
it kinda comes down to. I
something we
mean,
gotta hold on to. We have to value it. Do you think trust on certain platforms that truckers are looking to a certain area more than others? What do you think is the more trustworthy one right now?
no, You know what? There are a lot of people out there. How about we just talk about the people that are speaking the truth? I mean, you're speaking the truth. Our good friend Chuck Snow. Like I said, there are people. I would say it doesn't matter what people's political beliefs are. If you're finding that the people of different political beliefs are giving you the same information, then there's probably some truth to it. There's a lot of folks out there, Chris Orban, Dean Croak. There's a number of people. I mean, in terms of entertainment, Dale Summers. I mean, his son is still out there keeping people entertained, giving people a good time. There's all kinds of places where you can get good information. There's all kinds. It's just like it's happening everywhere. It's like the only thing I would tell listeners is yes, it's important to find somebody that makes you feel good because you got to spend time with us. So want to make you feel good. But it's important that you don't find somebody who lets you believe what you want to believe. There's a big difference between that, between somebody telling you don't want to find anybody telling you what you want to hear. You want to find people that are telling you the truth. Now, that's where the real talent comes in, right? Because can you tell people the truth in a way that makes them still want to spend time with you,
Yeah. Can
even
you
when they don't
deliver?
like that truth? Can you deliver that?
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
that's
just
why the
just
reason why I came up with the name of the show, That's Delivered, because that's just what it is, you get a package on your on your doorstep and it's all damaged and you I'm like, hey, it's you got it, but we got to file a claim. It's it's not like
Yeah,
you
I mean, and I had it happen with FedEx.
yeah.
This last week, I had it happen with them, and it's like they're telling me it's been delivered. I'm like, no, it hasn't. Like it's in Memphis. I'm like, no, it's not. I've It's been crazy. I've had like I've had like bad experiences. Like I will say, in defense of both Home Depot and FedEx, I've had bad experiences in the last 2 weeks. The final step of that experience has been extraordinary. Like once the problem was caught, both companies stepped up amazingly. But I literally had somebody telling me over in India that a table from Home Depot had been delivered. It's delivered. And it was the last Indian gentleman I talked to who said, it's obvious my colleague hasn't been to the United States. He's like, that's sitting in northern Mississippi in the Memphis suburbs. He said, you're down in New Orleans. Let me get somebody on who can actually help you. And they delivered it, and I got the table for free. But then FedEx, just 2 days ago, told me that something had been delivered. They gave it a duplicate tracking number and sent the two numbers in different directions and couldn't distinguish which one was which. It was the craziest thing. It got resolved. And when it got resolved, I got the phone calls, I got the apologies. Like I said, yeah, I mean, it was crazy. But I will say this though, in both cases, the final pieces of customer service were extraordinary. Because that's the other thing too about a lot of these men and women out there, you know this. They don't mind if you screw up. They mind if you don't take responsibility for it. Both companies took responsibility. That's really what it kinda comes down to. When you make a bad call, you admit it. You know what I'm saying? When you screw up, you tell people. When you don't know something, you say, "I don't know. Guys, I don't know." Or, you come back on that's the power of the retraction. A retraction actually reestablishes trust. I'm sorry, Ray, I'm going on. I know you got things you wanna say. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. I mean, no, I love it that you keep going.
So
That's what the show is
that's
about.
kinda it.
Yeah, you can keep
Um,
going as long as you got time.
I would ask you the question though, man. Where do you go? What do you trust? Who
Well, I like to listen to my network of individuals that I've acquired. So individuals that I've able
Yeah.
to
I mean, who do you trust right now though? Who are you looking towards when you wanna hear news?
yeah, I mean that's I guess I have to leave it up to myself to distinguish if I feel like the story is not finished. Sometimes the story is still ongoing and we want to draw conclusions. So I may hear something from this channel or from that source, but yet is it actually done? Do we feel like it's still something that we want to investigate more? And so that's where we get to keep talking about. That's like the gift that keeps on giving. Sometimes we draw a conclusion, we don't want to hear anything else, and then there's some new evidence that gets brought to light. We have to kind of sit and think about it. Was that something that we should add into it? I think about this one truck driver that made a U-turn. We thought maybe he didn't know any English,
Oh, yeah.
and now we're finding out that he actually can speak English. So the more we know, the better. And then the underlying current of who are these employers that are employing drivers like this. What's going on when you interview a driver and you know that there's an issue and you just keep going. So, yeah, it's just you got to keep your ears open and listen. I don't really particularly say this particular person or even myself that, because I can get messed up too. I can get fed the wrong information, and I have to own up to that. So what I do is I just continue to follow the story. I think it lives in itself.
Oh man, I 100%. The morning after that terrible U-turn accident, we had information that we were almost certain we knew where he got his CDL from, and we had made arrangements to bring on someone who would be able to talk about that in particular. And he called us up, and what he said before is he said, "I'm not yet there." He said, "I'm almost 100% sure I know where this is from." He said, "But tell you what, let's just talk about the need for better training instead." He said, "Because I don't have." He was right. The worst part was he was right, but he couldn't talk about it because he hadn't confirmed it. And it was like the best decision of all time. I told him point blank, I said, "You haven't done." I said, "It's great." I said, "I would rather hold off on the information and get it right than get there first and be completely wrong."
Yeah.
And the one thing that Dave and I kept doing during that whole U-turn incident was we don't have all the facts. We don't have all the facts. And I couldn't agree with you more, Ray. That's like the crucial thing. Wait for the truth to arrive.
Yeah, I think parenting teaches you a lot of that. You think you got to figure it out, and five 5 days later, your kid tells you the real story. Like,
Yeah. Or sometimes you get angry at your kid and then you find out that they made a decision that was actually pretty smart in retrospect too. I mean, that's a big thing too. It's like, and so it's why, and the other thing is to simply waiting, even if you're right, you're still cooling off. You're still giving time. I've always said that in moments of crisis, the best thing we can always hope for is that cooler heads prevail. We could
mm,
just hold on and get through that moment of instant panic or reaction to let the adults in the room take control of the room,
yeah,
and that's always a big moment. If we can get it's always just waiting, isn't it? If we can just wait a little bit longer, we might find out that things aren't as bad as we thought they were.
ooh, I like that one too. Yeah, and waiting is hard, and you got to be patient. I mean, that's a quality a lot of people don't possess. So, patience
No,
is
especially in the instant information, right? I need it
yeah,
now. Where's my information? I need it now. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Where's my next information? I know. I know.
and you wonder why your arm is cramping up. You're like, oh man,
I know. I know. It makes me, like I said, and there are people who post things that I love, and family members, friends, people I respect, and I look at their post and I go, "Man, you're gonna be taking that down." Yep, there it goes. You took it down. Yep, there it goes. You were wrong. Yep.
yeah,
Or you're doubling down on bad information, which is even worse. Where, no, I'm gonna insist I was right. No, no, you weren't. But you can
right.
keep on saying it, and you keep on looking more and more foolish, and that's kinda it. That's kinda it as well too. So, yeah, I mean, so I told you, so we do, Nemo Nation on Mondays.
Mhm.
Tuesday through Friday, we do Road Gang Radio, and the first 2 hours are about trucking. We call it the first 2 hours about making a living, and the second 2 hours about having a life. So we'll talk about, all kinds of trucking issues from 7 to 9. And then my co-host Lindsay Lawler shows up and we talk to country and western and Americana performers and authors and cooks and podcasters to give people all kinds, and people who run national parks and people who, look at old road signs on Route 66, or tell ghost stories to, you know, campfires and say, what are the fun things our friends out there can do when they're out there? Talk to people who know where all the golf. We have drivers who actually know how to plan their routes to get to good golf courses,
No, there's
which I
some
just love.
really
I
good
think that's
drivers
like
out there. They
terrific.
got to
It's like
figure
the
it out.
best.
They got it dialed in.
That's the second show. And then the last show we do is called We Should Write, where Lindsay Lawler um, talks to all kinds of creatives, songwriters, novelists, people who write for a living. But the point of the show isn't to help people write for a living. The part of the show is to tell people writing is often better than therapy because it costs a lot less.
Yeah. My producer is big into journaling. These professions that we get into, we start earning a living. We get into the groove. This has become our life, but then becomes all we do. Sometimes we got to find a way out. And if we don't have the social network that we need, you have to find a way to channel your thoughts, your energy. And journaling is huge. You think about a lot of people that are incarcerated, they can't do this, they can't do that, but they learn to journal inside there. So if they can do it, why can't we? We can find those ways to bring happiness to ourselves. And I think journaling is a good way to do that. So taking time to write things down. It's a huge community out there. I can't believe it. It's a big deal. So take a minute or two, write something for yourself. Not always just giving, to others. You can give to yourself. I think that's
Yeah,
huge.
I think journaling is the key because a lot of times I said cooler heads prevail. Sometimes simply taking the time to sit down and write can make you not say the wrong thing or not do something that you'll regret for the rest of your life. And it's sometimes matter of just making a list of being like 5 reasons why I shouldn't yell at this guy, 5 reasons why I shouldn't get in this fight. And it might just be my wife, my kids, the fact that in prison they don't serve ice cream sundaes. I mean, it's like, I mean, you can get really simple. You can get really simple. I mean, it's like, I mean, the number of people who, because you brought up the incarceration thing, the number of people who are sitting in jail going, man, if I'd only just stayed on the damn porch, if I'd only kept my temper, if I only hadn't taken the next step, if I had just taken a moment to be like, breathe, because it's in breath that prayer happens, and most prayer is for ourselves. Even when it's for others, it's for ourselves. It's a desperate cry for wisdom, which we often don't have unless we breathe, unless we write, unless we think, unless we pray. So
Yeah. Yeah. Because you think
that's kind of
about.
what I do.
Yeah, I think about it, man. It's awesome. It enriches your life, and then eventually you see the door open up. You see a light at the end of the tunnel. You see people coming towards you because they want to be around you. You're not this angry person all the time, right? You got this
Mm.
community that comes towards you. Like even with podcasting, like you said, you got to focus on getting that content out there, or you're not competing with other people. You're kind of looking at yourself as to how you could be more available to the community, how you can be more available to trucking, specifically to what we do, and provide that information for people to be successful out there on the road. I think that's huge. So, and you're doing that. I think you're doing a great job. You got a great
Thank
team.
you.
Right now, my team is pretty small. But one day, my hopes and dreams is to have a huge studio where you can come and visit. I want to come down there and see you guys too. I think that's pretty
Oh,
cool.
you got and by the way, we finished the studio this week. The invitation, and we extended to all of our friends. But I tell you point blank, you get down to New Orleans, and I promise you, you can sit with Dave and I, or just me if it's just on one of my days alone, and with Lindsay, and you can sit with us from beginning to end. I would love to have you on. Love you and the wife to come on. Come on down. We'd love to have you guys.
All
Absolutely.
right, man. I want to do it today. I
We'll
wish I
do
could.
it. I mean, find us, find us. We're out there. We'll make it happen. Yeah, I just like I said, talking leads to more talking, leads to more talking, which means less nonsense is going on. If we just all keep talking, we may find we get to the other side in one piece.
So the big picture, the future for information for truckers, where do you see the future of trucking information headed? I know more AI alerts are out there. Sometimes we're trying to do a show and you get those notifications from your phone, and like great. Or do you think that the radio will always be a place that people will hold dear in their hearts?
Radio is like an owner operator, Ray. Every 5 years they tell us it's dying, and yet more owner operators and more radio shows up. It's like the end of the day, people are already getting tired of AI. People are already like disgusted by AI. They're like, I don't want to hear this. It's like it's a loser. I mean, in regards to that, there's some stuff it does really great. But in regards to like entertaining people are like, this is horrible. Why are you doing this to me? It's like you're trying to force feed this down my throat. All they've done is succeeded in reminding people why live stuff, with all its mistakes and all its stupidities and all of its rash statements and all of its, electrifying moments, there is no substitute for human beings. I mean, as we go more with AI, we're going to keep heading more towards IRL in real life. People love it.
Yeah.
People love it. People love, people. I mean, there's a reason why people watch stuff like, I mean, like the Bozo Trucker. I mean, like people watch all that stuff. They want to see idiots in real time. They want to see brave people in real time. They want to see kids having a good time. They want to see Alex Nino, the influencer with his little boys running across parking lots. They don't want to, have some fake voice that talks like this saying, "You guys go out there and kick the day in the ass." I'm already tired of that guy. I'm tired of him. Aren't you?
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
the voice I'm talking about, don't you? "Hey, you killers, go out there and embrace the day." Oh, give me a break, dude. I'm not inspired. I'm not inspired, you
that's
know?
awesome. Yeah, you got
Just
me.
not.
That's awesome. I love it. So if
You
you
know?
find the perfect driver dashboard or information out there, if just kind of open your mind up, your exposure to the price rates and the people you talk to, what would you say about the driver dashboard and what would be on it for maybe one or two things?
Okay, I thought you meant like an actual dashboard because I get really science fiction on that. Tom Bray and I actually came up with the idea of having an actual glass transparent dashboard where you could literally this is so cool. So Tom and I are big friends of all kinds of trucking movies. That's why I'm wearing the Pork Chop Express, which is,
Yeah,
Big Trouble in Little China. So I know it wasn't what you asked me, but my idea would be Tom and I want to have a glass dashboard. And you know how when you have a touch screen and you can just move things around? And we would love it the idea of having the dashboard where you can actually move the speedometer, the best place for you to see it, and actually GPS in the dashboard, have the LED in the dashboard, and be able to move it all around and lay out your dashboard the way you customize an avatar in a video game. And just lay the dashboard out in a way that maximizes the way you see it. Because all dashboards are laid out differently. I know it's not what you asked me, but you
yeah,
opened the door on it, so I'm gonna have my science fiction moment. And I just love the idea of it's better for me if my speedometer is over here. I mean, and it's like, and Tom, yeah, right?
yeah. I love it. I think that's a great idea. I
This
even
would be
want the
great.
GPS to
Just
be
would
in.
love it. And so, I mean, that's my perfect dashboard. Is like I can customize. Imagine a dashboard whose color changes based on the level of fuel you have. That the whole dashboard is like green when you're full and then goes to yellow as you begin to midpoint, or that you actually watch the whole dashboard go down. And I just, I know it's ridiculous, but you asked me about dashboard, so that's my dashboard thing.
It's
That's
coming.
what I got for you, Ray.
They're working on it as we speak. Yeah. Um,
I'm back.
yeah, they keep working on us, man. They keep trying to they
Well,
don't
it's the
wanna
friends of Hugo Chavez. I mean, it's people. I got enemies everywhere, man. Yeah, I know you do too because you bring in too much good feeling. I was going to tell you. So you said, how can drivers, and then I didn't get the question. How can drivers do what?
still play a bigger role in shaping the conversation about what matters to them. Maybe they themselves can play a part into it. I know, Nemo Nation is gonna be the way to go for getting it kicked off, but, what do you think they can do?
Okay, this is so simple. And we once a week we do a segment called Washington Trucking Week. This is so
Mm,
simple. Forget about your US senator, forget about your congressman. Learn who your state senator is, learn who your state rep is, learn who the head of the school board is, learn who the councilman is, learn who the municipal representative is. Go to those people, say, "Hi, my name is Ray, I'm a trucker. Hi, my name is Jimmy Mack, I'm a trucker. Pleased to meet you. If you ever need information about me about transportation issues, I will give it to you honest, I will give it to you sane, and I will explain the ins and outs. If you ever need a friend to help you figure out transportation policy, I'm your guy. Here's my number. Here's where you can call me, give me a ring. Even if we don't agree with each other, I will tell you the truth and give you the information you need. And I'd like you to meet my family because we're a member of your community and we're here and we're great members of your community. We go to the local churches, we go to the barbecues, parks, picnics. We're present, and even when I'm not here, or my husband's not here, or my wife's not here, somebody's here who you represent, who cares deeply about this community. Get to know us, use us as a resource so that you can be more informed about what affects you in regards to getting the stuff that you need here in this community. Let us tell you that. But don't just reserve it for that. Make sure your pastor knows that you are, in fact, a truck driver. Make sure your neighbors know that you're a truck driver. Make sure that you are, in fact, a citizen of this here, not only United States, but of Orleans Parish, of Jefferson County, of of the Hudson Valley, wherever you are. whether it is, Santa Clarita, California, all the way into Columbia Falls, Maine. Meet the people who are on the ground because it's all local. And each one of us is a little stone that you throw in the water, and it's can we make enough ripples to create a wave? That's what we can do.
That's
That's the
beautiful.
best thing we can do. Don't watch MSNBC and Fox and complain. Don't complain. Go talk to somebody.
Get out there. Yeah, get out there
Yeah.
and do something. I think that's huge.
That's
You know,
all I got, Ray.
I love it. I mean, you think about the disconnect that people have when they get so high up in those roles, political roles, and you're like, man, they really don't know what's going on. Well, maybe it's because we're not talking to them. Or maybe it was because we're not having conversations and building those relationships with each other, and they feel like well, they don't want to talk to me. They both sides feel like that. So that's huge. Thanks. Thanks. So to wrap it up, it was an incredible conversation. I think you touched on a lot of things that people can go back and replay this if they need to. I mean, you shared not only your story, but also some practical ways drivers can take control of how they get their information. And for anyone out there who's listening and hasn't tuned in lately, hey, check it out. Go to Radio Nemo and catch Jimmy Mack and the whole crew right there on the air. I think it's going to be great for you to have that connection, have that as your arsenal, where you can reach in there and grab a lot of great information. So, thank you so much for being on the show. You just keep doing being you, and continue to do the great work that you do. I appreciate you coming on the show. I really admire what you guys are doing over there. I love hearing you guys when I'm out on the road.
I can if you're listening on YouTube, I can see it just says there are this many people listening at this point. Plus, it's like, and we're getting a sense of we're getting two numbers. We're getting people listening at the time, and then we're getting the accumulate. But the number bouncing around. We can see it on Facebook. The one we always get last is iHeart. It's the one we can't see in real time. Um, but YouTube and Facebook we can see. Facebook is like crazy. We're trying to get them off Facebook. We're trying to move them over to YouTube. That's the big challenge we have right now is YouTube. Um, on Facebook and iHeart, it's great. But we want to get them over to YouTube because of the monetization possibilities. That's a big deal to us. But also because it's something you can point to directly for sponsors, where it's harder to kind of show the numbers on Facebook. They're great, but it's like you have to go on the back end. And one of the things we really have to the big leap for us, Ray, is going to come in about a month when we go start doing live video from the studio. We've had to we wanted to be up faster, but it's gonna take us some time. The good news is it's gonna give me time because this week I finished the studio, meaning that the studio in regards to operational has been operational for weeks, but in regards to looking cool, it's gonna look great. It's gonna look great. Oh, sorry. I just dropped the phone. But it's gonna look,
Awesome.
um,
Well, I thank you so much for
so
being on the show. And man, for our listeners out there, please check out Radio Nemo and Nemo Nation, Dave Nemo, and all the great family that he has there. Awesome. Thank you again.
Are you a trucker looking for a safe and reliable place to park? Look no further than Truck Parking Club. With locations across the country, we've got the perfect spot waiting for you, whether it's daily or long-term parking. And right now, use promo code DELIVERED at checkout for an exclusive discount. Reserve your spot today at truckparkingclub.com and drive stress-free knowing your parking is covered.